If you like this video, make sure to visit our Vimeo page and follow us to get the latest update.
What is like just the introductory aspects of it, what is data science, how we go about it, I mean like very theoretical basic introductory aspects of it, like what are the aspects of data science like statistics, machine learning models and some kind of domain expertise if you have. So these sessions are available. If you have more interest in learning, whatever we had covered is available in the in that past video recording session. So you can have a look at your own pace. Very theoretical. I mean, just the introductory aspect of it. What does a data science do? What kind of skills do you require? What are the expectations? And I mean, similar kind of stuff. So what are the job trends of data scientists? How is a data scientist or data visualizer different from a data scientist or a data analyst? Like that, what are the fields and how basically we had just looked at some of these examples, how data science is basically being used in other fields also, and in all different kind of areas apart from whatever we have listed here: e-commerce, manufacturing, banking, education sector, etc. So the applications are immense, and you guys definitely would have done some research before you have enrolled for the program. So we'll not go into these things again. You can have a look, and if you have any questions, you can always ask. Or there's a section in that LMS wherein you can post the queries also. So these are the things about data science, very basic things. And just one more thing I'll show you here is something called discussion board. Okay. In this discussion board, you can go through the recordings, and if you have any questions or anything, you can simply put your questions here. And we'll see that whenever I get time on whatever time, maybe possibly in 24 to 48 hours, I try to respond. So if you have any questions or if you want to ask in the next sessions also, you are very much welcome to do that. So this is how we are going to do. So this was the introductory aspects of it. Any questions you want to ask from, if you have any doubts regarding this introductory aspects of it, what were the basic aspects of data science? Anyone, if you want to ask any question? Okay. So you can have a look at these things, and these slides are also available in the materials of students. So you can go through this, whatever introduction to data science, you can have a look at these sessions and come to it. Second thing that we're covering is kind of introduction to art. This was also a very small part of it that covered, and the codes are available here. The thing is, this will cover later on, because whatever we are going to do is primarily in the Python. We'll have a look at R and some aspects of SQL also. SQL we have not covered till now, but R will have a look little bit, because R is also a tool which is used very frequently in data science area. But mostly what we are going to cover is this Python. Everything, all the modeling techniques, what the statistics we are going to learn is going to be from the Python. And we had covered this session, Python, the basic construct. So I'll just take you through this quickly, the Python area of it, so that you are aware of how this Python programming language works. And then we can basically, on top of that, we'll develop whatever the data science, stuffs are there, we are going to develop in Python itself. Okay. So just wanted to quickly know if you have the people who have joined today, do you have any programming experience from the background? It could be like C, C++, Java, or any querying language for that matter. Arun, do you have any experience? If you could just mute yourself and just tell you a brief about yourself. I mean, if you have any programming experience and any experience, work experience, anything, just a couple of lines you can let me know, so that I have some idea.
Yeah, hi Austin. Yes, I have programming experience, but that was a long time back. I had programmed in C and Java and JavaScript.
Okay, so that's good. So basically, you will have some understanding of the structures and everything. That's all I wanted to know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Sinta, do you have any experience of programming?
Yeah, I have experience in programming with the Python programming language, and also just learning about core Java and advanced Java.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So then that's good enough. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sam, how about you? You have experience with programming?
Yes, I do come from a development background, but that was a long time ago. I had done Java and then .NET as well.
All right, all right. So basically, I just wanted to know that you have something, because it should not be completely blank when we're going to do it. So that is all. Thank you. Estella, you have some experience with programming?
No, I don't have any experience with programming. I'm so brand new.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, do you have any work experience? Can you tell me just a little bit about background?
I had some training in SAP, BW, and ANA.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Okay. And you have some experience also, like work experience in any area, or you are kind of fresh into this?
No, I don't have any work experience. I'm just fresh.
All right. All right. So, fine. So, what we're going to do is, so Estella, specifically for you, you'll have to do a little bit more work compared to others, because these guys have some experience with programming. All right.
Mhm.
So,
Yes.
So fine. Okay, we'll take care of it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So how we are going to do? So basically, there is something called Anaconda. Okay, you go there on the Google and just type Anaconda download. All right. So you will have this individual edition of Anaconda, and you can download your own. This is open source software. You can download your own version, whether you are using Mac or Windows system. Whatever you are using, you can simply download this Anaconda or install on your system. So this Anaconda provides. So basically, this provides integrated development, integrated environment for data science based projects and data science based applications. So we can develop a lot of things on this. And in this, so we don't have to. So basically, how it works is, there will be multiple libraries. Like you can see, right? Spider is something we can use. Jupyter is something we can use to do the Python programming. And it already has, multiple applications and multiple libraries built for data science. So we don't have to reinstall. We can do Python installation separately also, but then it makes it little difficult. Not difficult, but you'll have to do other works also to install the library and so on. So rather than doing that, you simply install an Anaconda and we can start using a Spider on that, which will basically cover for the libraries. We just have to call the libraries and we can start our work on this. So if you have not already installed it, you can simply go and you'll find so basically documentation is completely available. And in this, you will have, like, as you can see, there is Jupyter Lab, there is a Spider notebook, and RStudio Spider. So all these things are available, and we're going to use the Anaconda itself to do all our works, mostly in what data science thing we're going to do. And you can install it from here. Simple application is there. Whichever system you are using, whether it is Windows or Macintosh, you can accordingly download it. Fine. So, okay. So now what I'll do is, so something we had covered on that day, like the last session that we are taking before this Independence Day. This is what basically we are trying to do. That Python basics we're trying to just cover. So I'll take you through that. Shishir, you may have to, because you're there already in the class. So it will be kind of a little bit of a repetition, because these guys need to know. Otherwise, we cannot move forward. There are many people who have joined today. So is that fine, Shishir?
Yeah, that's fine. So if I will see how long I will continue. Otherwise, I will drop.
Because mostly whatever we had covered till now, because all the things I just quickly covered up, because that is not much required. But,
No problem. No problem.
If you want to drop out in between today's session, it's okay, because whatever you have already known is what we're going to cover. So if you feel like it's kind of repetitive, you're free to drop it for today. But tomorrow definitely join, because tomorrow will be completely new thing that we're going to cover.
Yeah. So exactly, I want to know what exactly you are going to cover tomorrow.
Yeah. So tomorrow we are going to cover with the data preparation part. So basically, I'll just give them the how basically Python works, as we had done the last time. And then from tomorrow, data preparation work will completely start with the new data set, and we'll completely go on hands-on from tomorrow.
And that this data preparation will be through Python.
That is why I want to cover the Python for all these new guys.
Okay, fine, no problem. You carry on. Thanks.
Okay,
Thanks
thank
for
you.
letting me know.
Thank you, sister. Yeah. Okay, guys. So how we're going to do is something, as I told you, we are going to do this in Python, and so this is how this Spider looks like, right? A Spider is an IDE, integrated development environment, where you can write a script, you can do multiple statistical methods and tools and technology we can use. So I'll just take it, because most of you have some experience with programming, except for one person. So we'll start with a very basic thing. Simply know that how in Python it works. and we'll move forward with this. So today we'll just cover this part so that it's very simple. If you have some structure of understanding of data structure, it's just a repetition of that. But how it works in Python, the syntax around Python, that's all we are going to cover. Okay. Any questions till now, guys?
Austin, this is Sam. For the Python piece, are we downloading something or is it?
Yeah, that's what I told you. You can download this Anaconda.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah, you download Anaconda, and in that you will find. So basically, I'm just getting it from Anaconda itself. So in Anaconda, you are seeing a spider, right? A spider is part of this environment.
Okay.
So we'll use this spider for our program.
Thank you.
Okay. Estella, can you download it because you don't have any experience with programming language? Can you try this on your machine? You can simply go to Anaconda website. Just write download Anaconda, and you come to this website, and you can download it for your machine. Can you try this once? All other guys can also try installing Anaconda on the system. Estella, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. Please, if you could download this on your system, Anaconda.
Okay, I will do that.
Okay. So you see, and if you face any queries or any questions, you can always reach out using that tool in this this area where in the discussion board you can let me know. Okay, we'll start with this. So very simple thing, like in any other language we use a very simple thing we can use, like if I want to simply print something, right? Simply there's a command. So there are two things. One thing is console, or you can use this editor also. So in console, if you simply write, let's say, print data science class begins, whatever. So this is how this works in simplest of terms. Yeah, hello.
Sir, one doubt. Can I use Jupyter Notebook instead
Yeah,
of
you can
Finder?
use Jupyter if you are comfortable, but what may happen if you find some difficulty in that, you can definitely use, but we are going to use mostly Spider. So just to be on the same page so that everyone is just aligned, I would say that it will be better for you to use Python. A Spider.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Or otherwise, if you're comfortable with Jupyter, it's all your choice. There's no problem at all.
Yeah, okay.
Hello?
Yeah, hello.
Yes, this is Stella speaking. I'm kind of, I don't know, because I don't have any idea of all these things. So I don't know.
Oh, okay, Stella. So what we'll do, Stella, is you just be with the session for now, all right? Tomorrow, is it possible for you to join like 20 minutes before the session?
Sure, yeah.
So that I'll just give you a brief, because other people have some experience with programming, so I can take them through quickly. But for you, I may have to spend some little more time just to get you onto the speed. So if it is possible for you, 20 minutes before the session, like 9:30 is the session, you may join by let's say 9:10, if that's fine with you.
Okay, I can log in like 9 o'clock.
Yeah, that's great enough. We'll start like 15-20 minutes before. I'll give you some hint how to basically go about it, and then you will be up to the speed. So don't worry about it. I'll make sure that you are into this session.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And any other person, if you are also free to join in. If you have some questions or queries, if you're not able to follow through, you can let me know accordingly. We can just shift the session 10 minutes, 15 minutes ahead, or ahead the class or after the post session, whatever. So that everyone is basically on the same page and aligned to whatever is happening in the class. Okay. So a very simple thing, like if you're writing simple first program, this is how we can do it. Or otherwise, we can just write it in the editor. So one more thing I'm telling you, usually what I do is I do everything in the class itself. I don't use any printed thing, because this is what last time we had covered, so it already saved in the system. But usually how I'll do is basically I'll simply use console most of the time, or editor, but then I'll write it most of the time, because at the same time you can also write the commands, and it will become very hands-on, very parallelly you can do it. So that is how we'll start. So simple things like simple arithmetic operations, if you are doing in any other programming language, simple things can work here also. And in this, the way if you want to run one line, you can use F9. So F9, if I simply put F9 there, it is welcome. Similarly, let's say that if I want to see simple arithmetic operations, division, addition, this double star is basically for for squaring or to the power basically. So 3 to the power 2, essentially that. This is modulo, which basically gives you the remainder like any other thing. All right, any other questions? Any questions here?
So far, okay. Master.
Okay. Estella, if you have any questions, you can either ask me or you can keep it to yourself for now, and you can later let me know that. And because we had covered this,
I will just observe for now because it's a lot on the screen that I don't know what they are.
Okay.
So,
I'll let you know. Tomorrow we'll have a look at it specifically.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, okay, so like data types are there in all other programming languages. Similarly, we have data types here also, like numeric, integer, float points, Boolean, and so on and so forth. So, what is a data type? We can simply use this type function and check it. Like type 2 is integer, type 2 is floating point number, right? This is integer. This is a Boolean kind of number, true or false, right? So let's say that this is true, type false, whatever. Okay, so this is Boolean. Type is a string. ABC could be string. You can write in either in single quote or possibly. So these are just very basics of it, just to give you hang of how Python works. Okay, so either you can write in single quote or double quotes. Then we can, simply variables are something which we can store the values in. Like let's say that in number variable I'm storing 2, and then number or whatever, number plus number if I do. Number plus number would be 4, right? Because it will add 2 numbers. Similarly, real or floating point number like this. I can store something as a string. This word is basically a word which is a type of string type. Okay. One more thing we can do in Python is we can, if you want to have multiple single value stored to multiple variables, that is also possible in Python, which is like little different from other programming languages like Java or anything. I mean, usually we don't get to see this kind of initialization of variables, but this is possible in Python. Now, if I do A equal to B equal to C equal to 1.5, so A, B, C will all store 1.5. But generally, this is not there in other programming languages mostly. So now let's say print A is 1.5, print B is 1.5, print C is 1.5. And other way of doing it is like, let's say that you want to create 3 variables, and rather than initializing it like separately, 1 equal to 1, 2 equal to 2, or 3 equal to 3, you can write it in a single piece of line, here. Like 1, 2, 3 is 1, 2, 3. So essentially what I'm trying, so this is like, 1 is assigned to 1, 2 is assigned to 2, and 3 is assigned to 3. So let's say now I'm putting print 1, which is 1, print 2 is 2, print 3 is 3. So basically, in the order of however you are assigning, the similar way if you put the variable names, it will be able to assign it. Simple stuffs, not much difficulty here. But you let me know if you have any questions, you can always ask me. Similarly, if you want to check the type of it, which is basically the date type, this is class of integer, right? This object is a kind of integer. 1 is basically assigned to 1. Similarly, 2 would be a string. 3 would be floating point, right? Because it's 3.0. Simple stuffs here, nothing much. So one more thing, this is also very unique to Python, as in let's say that you are assigning a integer value to a variable, and you are assigning a string value to another variable, but then you can change the name. This is not possible. This kind of typecasting will give you error in other programming languages, but in this you can do it. Like now, to the number I'm assigning a string. So what will happen in this is, this is not an error, right? But now if I put number will basically contain the string. So the typecasting problem didn't happen like this in this Python. So this is quite unique here again. And this will also come as your string if you check the type of it. Okay. So there is something called as, library, right? There is important thing. We'll cover it in more detail, but then for now, I just tell you there's something called library, and library will contain different kind of keywords, functions, and many other things. So there is this library called keyword. So let's say that if I import this library, so why I'm trying to show you this is because all of you would be knowing that we cannot assign any variable name which is basically listed as keyword in a programming language. Similarly, what are the keywords in this? So if I import this library keyword, so basically I imported this library keyword. Now I'm just trying to see what are the keywords listed in this library. So now you see here, right? So all these things like break, insert, class, continue, def, elif, else. So these are just the keywords. We don't assign any value to them. They are specific keywords for this particular language. So you don't assign something like this. Let's say that if you want to do break equal to 3. Break is, as in here we see that break is basically a keyword. Now if I put break equal to 3, right? You see that it shows an error kind of thing. That invalid syntax, because it's already, if I put break equal to 3, then it will become an error because break is a keyword for this. But then you can use break 1 or something if you want to use. Like let's say break 1 equal to 3, that's fine, perfectly all right. So don't give any value to the keywords. That's the point. Okay. So then after that, we can have this comments like for an example, I use using this. So you can use pound sign or hash sign to give the comment here. Like don't you give this name? So there is no problem here. And if you want to use multiple line comment, then you have to give this 3 apostrophe sign. So this is also fine. This is single line comment. That's okay. And this is multi-line comment. If I run all this, that's also okay. Right? This is multi-line comment. With 3 apostrophes we use for the multi-line comment. Like this is Python class, whatever. So this is how it is. There's no problem here. Now we can use expressions, simple expressions could be used. Another important thing is else and if else statement you would have definitely used in other programming languages. So like let's say that I'm just trying to give you one example, right? For an example, let's say I just copy this just to save the time. So simple if statement. And one more thing you have to be very careful with programming language in Python is indentation becomes very important. Now let's say that if I So you see, like in if-else statement, what I am just giving is there is something called passerby speech, wherein I am just putting hi dude. And if you are just giving this as hello, if passerby speech is hello, then print this is hello, otherwise print not hello, right? But then what we are saying is there's something called error here. This is just happening because this thing is not very aligned to it. Now this will be fine. You see here, right? Just because indentation was not right, I just shifted this position. So usually you won't find this kind of problem with other languages, but then the Python is designed like this. If you don't put it in the right place, it will throw you an error. So indentation becomes very important in Python. This is giving some error, but if I just put that else in right position, you see this is invalid syntax, right? But then if I just move else here, this is okay. So just be careful with this indentation. Now this is not hello, right? Because this is how it should come. Because hi dude, and this is not correct, so hello. And now if you want to add something else like else if, simple else if we use. So there is some keyword called elif, E-L-I-F. You can use this. Now hi dude is there. If there is something called if passerby speech is hi dude, then this is hi dude, whatever. All right. So elif is the command for that. If you want to add anything else, if kind of thing situation. Any questions today? I'm just going a little fast, guys, because I assume that you are aware of these syntaxes at least from whatever experience of programming you have from the past. Or do you want me to take this also very in a sequential manner, like very progressive way? Or is it fine if this speed is fine for you? Except Estella, Arun, Sinta, and Sam.
It's okay for me.
Yeah, okay, Sam.
I don't want to speak for others, but it's okay for me.
Yeah. Okay, Arun, is it fine? Because I am assuming you have some background, so that's why I'm going like this.
Yeah, it's okay, sir. I have
Okay.
learned.
Okay. I'm just trying to give you the syntax part of it so that you are aware that whenever you're using it, you just know it. That's all. Arun, is it okay for you?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, cool, guys. Okay, similarly, one more example, whether it is true or not, whatever. Right? You can use other examples. Anyway, this code is available, and you can do the hands-on by yourself when you have installed Python on the machine. So similarly, okay. So there is something called now we have covered if-else statement. There is something loops, right? So in loops, the way we have three things. You have one initializer, and till what point it should run, and with how much increment it should run. So right, there is a function called range, which will basically take care of this. So in range, what I'm giving is 1 to 10 is basically being passed in the for loop. For I in range I to 10, print I. So let's see what it gives. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 is not included. So how range works is basically first the initialized value will include, but the last value will not be included. So this is how this. And now if you want to increase it by something, so incrementer is like let's say 2, then simple 2, 3, 5, 7, 9. Okay. Similarly, whatever. Now we can do it for a string also. In the string, like let's say this is a string. Now I want to see the length of a string. So length of a string is basically the number of characters, which is 16. Now print the string 0. So basically, like in other languages, also the index start from 0 in the string. So a string 0. So basically, 0th index is S here. 0th index is S. So that's the thing that is coming out. Now, what you can do is, let's say that you want to, so a string is basically a combination of character. So simply I put for character in the strings, print char. So it will give you all the elements of this. A string traversal, okay? Because it's a combination of characters. Or you can also use like this. For I in range of length string, print of string I. It will give you the same thing because now we are accessing it element by element. That was just by character. We just use this character keyword. Otherwise, you can use this indexing and go traverse it one by one. So this is also possible. Similarly, you can have nested loops for I in range 3 and for j in range 2. You simply put it 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. Basically, 3 times this loop will run, and the range here 2. So basically, this is assuming 0, 1, and so this will start from, if you don't give the initializer, it will start from 0. So 0, 1, 2, like that, 0, 1. So 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. Okay. And then you would also be aware of break and continuous statements. So break, what it does is that if a condition is meeting, and if you put break statement there, that will break there. And if you put continue, it will skip that particular iteration and move from the next iteration. Like right now, what I'm doing here is I in range 1 to 11. If I is 5, then continue and print I. So essentially, if the I is 5, that step will be skipped, and the cursor will basically start with the I equal to 6. So let's see. So this is what you can see, right? At I equal to 5, I'm using continue. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is getting 6. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is what is coming here. Similarly, if you put break, then it will totally break this command here, and only 1, 2, 3, 4 will be printed. Okay. And then obviously you can use a combinations of all this. You are breaking it at I equal to 8, and you are continuing. So basically, you are leaving it to 5. And like other programming languages, we can have functions here also. So simple definition, and then later on you can call the function simply. Let's say that I'm defining a function. So the keyword here is def, and you write the function name. So function name here is function. So def function, print first function, and then you call this function. So simple first function. And you can have returning value, like in other simple functions, we can have returning values, right? So this is what I am a result. So if you now print returning, that will give you the returning thing. Or otherwise, we can simply store it in other variable like result, and you return. Now you print the result. So that is also the same. Okay. You can have multiple returning values also. So for an example, I want to return this 2. This is a result and 2. So now if you save it in this and print result. So basically it has 2 values. This is a result and 2, right? And you can also have parameters. This was just, there was no parameter here. It is a blank.
Yeah, Austin.
Yeah.
This is Sam. Sorry. So the function on line 171, are you giving the function a name or?
Yeah. Function. This is a function. One is basic. Function is the name. So if you write, let's say that you want to do fung1, whatever.
Okay, so anything with followed by the parenthesis.
Yeah, that is what the function is. So you can do.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Okay, is that clear?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So over here, the function name I am just giving as parameters. So whatever parameter you pass it here, like simple. So this is a parameter. Now you can also have 2 parameters or whatever parameters you want. Add a, b, c equal to a plus b. Now you add 2. Right? Simple. Add 2 and 3 plus 4. And one more thing that is here possible is you can use it. It's not necessary that for addition you have to use only, basically plus also works for concatenation. So now if I want to just pass this string here as your parameters, so this is also fine. So now if I print concat, then this will give 1, 2, because plus is basically also used to concatenate strings in Python. So this is what it is doing.
So Austin, so this is Sam again.
Yes.
So parameters have the same syntax as a function?
Yeah, parameters are the same syntax.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
So it says that if you have no parameter, it will leave blank, and for the parameter you just give the name like AB, and then when you're passing the value, then you just write the, like I am giving here AB, right? So you have to pass two parameters here, and that's what this function will do. That's about.
Okay, but then
Is
you
that
have
clear? So see, what I am doing is this add is a function name I am giving, and I am passing. So basically, I want to create an add function to add 2 numbers. This is what I am trying to do with this. So A and B are 2 numbers which I want to add. So now, so this is so basically I am creating a definition here, and C equal to A plus B, and I am returning C. So whatever A, B I add, and when I return C, so basically let's say that I am passing 3 and 4. So what it will do is 3 plus 4 is C. So this is 7, right? So now I have
Okay,
created this.
yeah.
this,
So
this is,
your basically the DEF is a keyword that defines a function
function.
name.
That's correct.
The name of the function is add, which takes in two parameters, that is A and B,
Yeah.
and it is adding and then returning C.
Exactly.
Okay, so in 198, when you define the function add, do you have to define the return value?
It's not necessary, but then this is a good practice because this is a value you want in the end, right? So now let's say that I'm just, so basically in this add function, I'm just adding two things. Add, right? This is add. And I was storing it. So basically when I call this function add 2 and 3, so this value will be returned, which is C.
Yeah.
So basically in Java for this, the C will come.
Yes, in Java and C# and most other languages before Python, you have to define the return type. But in Python, you don't have
no,
to.
Yeah, that's not necessary. I mean, that's what makes Python much easier compared to other languages.
Yes, got it. Okay, thank you, Aston.
Okay, guys, just 1 minute. Hold on. Some power issues. 1 second. I'll just come back.
Yes, we can see Anaconda with the Python screen.
Okay, great. So we were at the Python. Okay, so this function. So with the parameter thing, we are just trying to cover. And as I told you that with the string plus is basically a sign of concatenation. So we can do this concatenation also. Okay, so now again I'll have to define this because this is about disrupted. Okay. Now also you can like over here we are passing A, B both separately when we are passing this value, but you can also store some default parameters like let's say that B, 4 and 5 you can store, and now when you are just calling this you just need to pass A because A is not defined here. Later on you can pass A for, so you can use also default parameters. These are simple stuff of the Python or any other programming language. So this is not something very unique to Python, but cool. So over here, I just have to pass 3 because 4 and 5 is already included in this. So 4 plus 5 plus 3 is 12. Now, so there is something called as lambda function. So lambda function gives you a lot of flexibility and we'll be using it quite frequently. So I'll just show you. So now lambda function, how it works, there's a keyword called lambda and I'm just passing xy, which is essentially like a parameter. And then what you want to do with that function. So x plus I want to add these two things. So xy is a parameter, like we are doing something here, right? We are calling the function with a parameter. Similarly, this is like two parameters, x and y, and then and the return value is something x plus y. So for an example, if I do it here, and then I pass this to xy are the two parameters. So this is 5, right? Simple enough. In one line, you can basically write the parameter and what it should be returning. So this is what lambda functions is quite, very frequently used and very helpful, comes in very handy as a tool. So now in this case, what we are doing is we are basically, this is a kind of a nesting of lambda function. So lambda C is there, then you have B and then you have A. And then finally you want to do A into B into C. So basically you have 3 arguments here. So now let's say that if I just define this, lambda A, B and C, then so basically for now you have to define 3 things. For A, B and C. So the way we'll define is a 2, 3, 4. And then it will basically give the multiplication of all this. So this is like nesting of function. And then you can have multiple expressions also here. Like over here you have lambda C, A, B and D. So now you see here, right? Lambda C. So basically you just have to pass one argument here or one parameter here. For this lambda function, you have to pass 2 arguments. And for this lambda function, you have to pass only one argument, which is basically D, 11. So once I create this lambda function, then I'll pass these arguments and this parameter, this is the result. So the result basically comes out to be 3. So if you calculate this expression, so obviously you would be knowing how to calculate this. So first the bracket will be calculated, then modulo will be calculated, and then in between a star and basically multiplication, and this will get, so this value will be coming out as 3. So this is what it is. And obviously later on you can check all this. Okay, so now some other data structures we'll have a look at it. This is quickly, you're clear with this, right? Lambda function. So lambda function is more about a parameter kind of function. But then in one line only you are able to write the parameter and what it should be able to return. Okay. Now, okay, so there is another. So basically now we're going to cover some of the core data structures of this language, Python. So now there is something called tuple. So tuple is basically a combination of different kind of data types. Like it would be like it would contain your numeric value, it would contain your floating value, it would contain a string, and so on. So now let's say that I just want to create a tuple with this one A B C C D E whatever, right? So now you see tuple. Print tuple, so it will give you this one A B C 2 C D. You can check the type of it. So type of tuple would be tuple. Type of tup is tuple. So this is tuple is object, right? Now the way we have, so basically now let's say that you want to access one particular index. So this will start from 0. So tuple 0 will basically get 1. Tuple 0 will get 1. Tuple 1 will get your ABC. So essentially the indexing is like 0th index, first index is ABC, second index is 2, and third index is CD. So now, not only this way, if you want, like, let's say that 0 to 2. So 0 to 2 is basically again the same level. 0 and first index will come here. So 1 and ABC. 1 to 3 will give you the first index and the second index, which is basically ABC and 2, right? This ABC and 2. Tuple 3 will basically give you the third index, which is CD. Now we'll see some of the operations of tuple. So now let's say that you want to create a tuple with only one object. So let's only one element. So let's say I put tup 2. So then if you check the type of this will essentially be a string, right? Because this has only one character and that is in the string format. So if you want to create something like tuple with only one string, this is also a string only. Because this has only, if you see, this is not tuple, this is string. So if you want to have only one element, you will have to pass a comma after this. So that basically this is how the language understands this is a tuple. Now this is fine. Now this will be a tuple. Type tup is tuple. Okay.
Austin?
Yeah.
So when you did line 239, so that was, what was the result again?
So this will give you the first and second index. ABC and 2. ABC and 2. Okay. If you do 0 from 0 to 2, it will give you 0th and first index. With one.
So it's giving you whatever is in between. It's a range kind of thing, is it?
Yeah, it's kind of a range.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Similarly, let's say that I want to define this and we check the tuple of this. So yeah, one more thing, important thing about tuple is that you will not be able to assign. Let's say to the one important, basically, this is a property of tuple in that way, that once this tuple is defined, you cannot change the element of the tuple. So 0th index is 1, first index is ABC, second index is 2, and third index is CD. So now let's say that if I want to try this, TUP third element is 5. Okay. So this will give you an error that this does not support item assignment, because once it is fixed, it is fixed. We cannot change it. This is one of the properties of tuple. Okay. Now let's say that there is something called, we can use try and exception just to give the error. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to assign tuple 3 as the third element of the tuple as 5. So it is giving the error. Basically, the error is object does not support item assignment. Once we have defined it, it cannot change. It cannot be changed. But what we can do is we can definitely add something to it. Now we have one A, B, C, D, 2. Now I want to add some element here. So that is possible. But we cannot change this element, the third element, the third index, and replace it with something else. So that's not possible. But now let's say that you want to create a tuple 4 with something else. So I want to add 5 to it. So that's okay. That is doable. So you see this tuple 4, which is basically one A, B, C, D, and 5 is added to it. So it has 5 elements now. Or you can use only, let's say that you want to use 1 A, B, C, 2. So this is basically a work around it, that you want to create only 4, you want to replace it with C, D, but then what you can do is you just use 1 A, B, C and then add one more to it, which is 5. So this is what I'm doing with the here. 0, 1, 2 element will be added and there is 5 to it. So it makes it 1 ABC 2 5. So what you do, you're basically deleting one of the element and then adding to it. So it's not happening in the same tuple. Basically, you are just creating a work around that. But you cannot replace anything in a tuple.
And that comma is part of the syntax.
Yeah. So that's what I told you, that if you are using only one element in a tuple, you have to use a comma. Otherwise, it will become like, or you can use, let's say you want to use 2 things, then it's okay. But if it is only one, then you have to use a comma.
Okay, I think it's because it's differentiating from a parameter.
Yeah, otherwise it will become an integer thing, right? It won't be able to differentiate.
Okay.
So now let's say some of the operation of this, we have tuple 2, which is essentially this, right? Tuple 2 is, okay, which is A basically, right? There is only A to it in tuple 2. Now let's say that we can do some operations. For an example, I want to multiply A by 4. So what it will do is it will give the same thing 4 times. A. Simple applications are like this in this tuple. You got this point? Tuple 2 was A. Tuple 2 has only 1, right? So if you see tuple 2, it has only A element. But now if I multiply it by 4, it will give me 4 A's. So this will contain 4 A's. So one simple operations like this. Similarly, you can use it in for loop. Now I'm creating a tuple called ABC. For X in this tuple, you want to print X. So you can use any of these things. Like you can create a function around it. You can use for loop, if else, whatever you want. You can do all these things with the tuple. Similarly, in for X in tuple, you can do this simple, right? Like basically, it will take the range of this tuple and print you and do all the things that you want to do. Simple operation. Now, basically, this is returning the tuple. This is like returning this 1, 2, A. So this is like returning a tuple. You can return any data type. So similarly, you can return a tuple as part of the function. Some functions like maximum, minimum, like let's say I define tuple here. You want to take the length of it, which is essentially 3. So print the length of tuple is 3. What is the maximum value that the tuple has, which is 4. Minimum value that the tuple has 3, right? Or whatever, 2. Now there is some. So is this tuple clear? The tuple is one of the data structures of which is very quite unique to your Python language. Okay, some operations, simple operations. So what we are trying to do right now is not getting into too much of programming of it, but just trying to learn how it works in Python, because Python is a tool that we are going to use to do all our data science stuff. So that is why we are just trying to put hands-on of Python. We are not getting it too much of a programming aspect of it, because that will take a different turn altogether. We are just trying to learn the tool. Is that clear? So there is difference between these two things. So similarly, list is another kind of data structure which can have, all other things like numeric values, floating values, strings, and tuple can also be part of a list. So for an example, this list is there. So now you see this is basically this. And similarly, this will also start from 0th index. So list 1, 0 is this 1, A, B, C. And then the list 2, so basically second element 2, 3. But then if you want to access the part of tuple, then you'll have to use like second, as we do in 2D arrays. So for an example, the 0th element is this. First element is. Second element is essentially a tuple. Now you want to access one element of it, then you'll have to go with the 0th index of this tuple. So this is how it will work, so that you can access this too. Okay. And now you can add something to it. That is also possible. You want to add list 2 is this. This is like appending a list. So this had only this 1 A, B, C, 2, 3. Now it has 4 also. You can use multiplication. So basically it will just repeat it. 1 ABC23, 1 ABC23. The way we had done it for tuple. So we can do the same thing for list also. Now we can use some other functions also, like let's say that whether 1 is there in this. So this will give us true or false, right? 1 is there in this list, right? In list 1. So these are simple things. Like essentially what I'm trying to do is just trying to see whether this is present or not, that kind of stuff. So 1 in list is there, yes, it's list. So basically it is going to be true. Now let's say this, I am just doing print, which is like a conditional statement, whether the list 1 is this, which is true or false. Yes, it is. So it is basically being true. So these kind of operations we can do on list. Again, this is giving you from 0, 0 and 1 first index of the list, which is 1 and ABC. Now you want to use some kind of functions like this, list 1, append this. So it will add one more element to it. You want to append something else. So now if you want to check list 1. So list 1 has 1, A, B, C, 2, 3, and 6. So either you can add this using plus sign, or you can also use this function, append, list1.append function, which will give you this, the new list. Okay. Now you can, as we were seeing about the lambda function, we can use some lambda function wherein you can map something and create a list. Like X is some X filter we are giving and some expression here with the with this particular list. So this is a list 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So see what it is doing is lambda function. You all know now that it will give me, like, for an example. Now this is the list 1, 2, 3, 4 is the list, and what I want to do is I want to create another list which is called list 5 using this expression. So for each of the element, this will basically evaluate this expression and create a new list. For an example, 4, 10, 18, and 28. So let's say that when it is using 1, so 1 into 1 to the power 2, which is basically 1, 3 into 1, so which is 3. So 1 plus 3 is 4. So that is what it is doing. Is that clear? So see, what I'm trying to say is these are just simple functions which can be used with the list. These are simple operations we can do with the list. Is this clear to you what it is doing? This is kind of mapping. So map function is used here in the list. Am I clear to you what it is doing?
So this is Sam. Just to summarize, the lambda is pretty much a shortcut to define a function.
Yeah.
And then map is basically taking the defined function and then mapping it to a set of values on the right hand side, which is 1, 2, 3.
That's correct. That's correct.
And then the return of the map becomes a string, which is then assigned
it doesn't become a string, it becomes a list because we are creating.
I'm sorry, list. Yes, I'm sorry, I meant a list. Yes. So the resulting function becomes a list because of the list operator at the very beginning, and then the value of that list is assigned to list 5 on your left hand side.
Yeah, that's correct. So what I'm trying to say, see, these are just, you can use for loop also, as I told you, right? You can use for loop also, anything. So this is also what basically I'm trying to suggest is, this is also a data structure or data type which is like any other data type only. And you can use any operation. You can use function here, you can use loops here, you can use break continuous statement here. Whatever you want to use, you can use it. That is what the whole point of talk here is. Am I clear?
Yeah.
Similarly, you can use filter function. So basically what it is doing is filter whatever X is less than 4 from this list. It will just filter it out and give you the list. So from this, wherever this is less than 4, so all these things will come in, and that will be coming. So map and filter becomes very, quite commonly used function as far as working with list is concerned. So this is just filtering with this condition, X is less than 4. You can use any other filter also as greater than 4. It's just to give you an example. Okay.
One question, Austin.
Yeah.
So I understand a list can have a tuple in it.
List can have a tuple. List can have a tuple in it. We have seen it example.
And then can a list have another list in it?
You can have so basically list cannot have a list in it, but you can add two lists like this.
Sure. So it looks like Python's way of doing an array is a tuple.
No, Python has array also. Python has an array also. So basically list can contain array. That's possible.
Okay,
See,
I'll wait. Okay.
Okay. So that is how it is. Because array is simply, if you look at tuple, it has, integer type. We have seen the example. It can have integer string. So if you think of it, like let's say that you are just putting 10 integers, so that becomes an array for you.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting my point? In array, you can have only one type.
Yeah. So tuple is it's not strongly typecast, meaning that it can have a combination of integers or strings or whatever it is, right?
Floating, all these kinds. It can have.
Yeah.
And obviously, it has array also. So you can use array. That's
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so this part we can cover in the pandas. So we just covered this at least dictionary and some import language. Okay. So like this, we have something called dictionaries also here. So dictionary is fundamentally a key value pair, right? So key value pair could be, so in this case, the key has to be unique, right? So key could be like Austin data science trainer, Sam data science student. So in this case, let's say that Austin becomes one key, Sam becomes one key. So it can take, like if you want to have Austin as data science student also, that will not be possible. So there can be only unique keys. The key cannot repeat, but the values can repeat. So let's say that there are many students here, right? One is Arun. So Arun is also data science student. So that is possible. You can have multiple values with different keys, but you cannot have repeated keys in this. So this is the function of dictionary. Now let's say that I'm just trying to create my dictionary one, which is key value and KEY value or K5, whatever. So this is the operation of this. Now we'll just look at it. So what I've done here is my dictionary one is containing key and value, KEY5. So basically key is the key name, value is the value name. You can also have something like, let's say KE1. Right. So these are the key values pair in this. So I've just defined KEY value 1, KEY 5, key and 5. So for this key, the value is the value. For key 1, value 1 is the thing. For this tuple, so basically in this, what I'm doing, the key is defined as a tuple, which is KEY, and the value is an integer, which is 5. Similarly, key is K and value is 5. This is how we can define our dictionary. Now, other way also you can define it. Like let's say that you just simply run you want to define something like this. For X in range is, and you define X as X plus 1. So this also is possible like this. Now you see this, right? For 0, 1, you are defining it in the range 0 to 10, right? So 0 to 10 means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And you are just adding it, X plus 1. So 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5. These are the key value pairs in this case. Now, how do I want to, let's say that I want to access a value of something. So in this case, the value of K key. So there is this key called K, right? In this we have defined K. So I want to access the value of this. So the way it is you simply put K and it will give you the value of this 5. Am I clear? So the way to access a value is through key in this dictionary. And it is also mandatory, not mandatory. Basically, the way it works is it's not defined by the index. So even if you write something like K5 here, that is also fine. The thing is, you always have to, it cannot be approached using index. It has all, in dictionary, it has always to be approached using the key name. In this case, it's K or KEY, whatever you have. Accordingly, you will be able to access it. Similarly, if you want to access all the keys, the key is the function, my dictionary one.keys. So all these key will come, KEY, KEY1, KEY, K. You want to access all the values is a function. right? All the values of this dictionary will come. Values 155. Now,
The dictionary is a key value pair. Yeah, right?
yeah, dictionary is a key value pair, right?
Yeah.
So that's why you have not heard of this in other languages. Like in Java also, I think dictionary is there, right? Sam, have you done this dictionary in Java?
Actually, Java, you don't have a dictionary as a data type, but you can create an object and use it that way.
Yeah, I mean, something like that you can do in Java. Yeah. So the idea here is similar to what we do in this thing, right? In dictionaries also, if you want to search for some word, you basically use this key, A, B, C, D. That's what basically this takes in this approach. So you just have key values pair, and if you want to access some value, you have to use key to access that value. You don't use index in this. So you can always add new key value pair, like in this dictionary one. You want to add something as 1 and 2. So basically, let's say that if I run this. So see what has happened. With the 1 key, 2 has been associated. So 2 is the value for 1. So this is how we can add a new key value pair to a dictionary. Similarly, in this case, you can change the value also. Like in tuple, we cannot change the value. Now this 1 can be changed to, let's say, any other number you want to do. So for an example, let's say you do this. So in this case, what happened, earlier I defined it with using 2, but now I just change it to 3. So that is also possible. You just have to type the key and the value will be changed. So that is possible in key value pair. Now, let's say that you want to delete something. So delete something, so you can use del keyword. So del keyword, what it will do is delete some key value pair. You just have to pass the key name because key is unique to in the dictionary. So let's say that, right? So what I'm doing is from my dictionary one, I am just deleting the 1, which is a key. And now if I check the my dictionary one, it won't have this 1 thing, which was there in this earlier. 1, 3 were defined. Now it's gone using simple del keyword. If you want to have a empty, you can just clear it. So there is nothing in this dictionary now. Okay, so these are some useful keyword data structures in Python.
So Austin, I'm guessing you cannot have the 2 same keys, right? When you define
you cannot have 2 same keys because it won't make any sense, right? In dictionary, you cannot have 2 same words for that matter. Because
is there a compile error?
So you see what will happen here. Let's say we'll do it once.
You can just put it on line 340 actually.
So now what you do is, let's say that you want to do.
If you do it there, I think it will simply change the value, right?
Yeah, it will change. If you just put K here, it will change the value to 3 rather than 5.
But in 340, if you put that key value again, maybe
no, you cannot do that because if you change the key, it will have compilation error itself because that is not possible. Yeah, so that won't happen. You can change the value. That's possible using the key.
Okay. Thank you.
So this is pretty much about it. The very simple aspects of Python language, data structure, just some expressions, conditional statements. We have seen some of them. And now the important thing of the most of the thing that we're going to do in our data science projects and data science toolkits is through libraries. So Python has multiple libraries and they have multiple functions with that. So for an example, let's say that there are multiple functions, multiple libraries we'll see for algorithms, but how to import the libraries and how we'll do it, we'll just see some examples. So import is the keyword to import some libraries. Now you want to use some of the math functions. For an example, so math is the key, math is a library name, and I'm just giving an alias name of M here. Import math. Now you can see. Okay, so I have just imported this. Now you can have a list of it. What all is there in this, right? Using dir function. This is basically user directory. So all these functions are available in this math library, like whatever mathematical functions, sine, cos, h, exponential, modulus, log, whatever, square root, many things, trigonometric functions, logarithmic functions, all kind of functions are available in this math function. So if you import this library, now you can use the objects of this class. Like let's say that I want to have the factorial of 5. So basically, let's say that m dot fact. So factorial is a function which is available in your math package or math library. You just pass some integer here. Let's say that you are passing 7. So using this particular library and for the function available in this library, we are able to access this function. It makes life very simple. And that is the beauty of these kind of languages like R and Python. Python makes it much more easier even compared to R. That you don't have to write all the functions all the time. And that is why very complex function. Factorial is one very simple function, but very, very complex, statistical functions are just available as a function in all these tools. And that is why they have become such relevant tools for data science projects. Because when you have to compute very sophisticated statistical models, you can just run using very simple functions which are available in this. This is one just example I'm trying to show you. This is how we'll access it. So now you can not just functions, let's say that's something mathematical. What is the value of pi? So pi is also available in this function. What is the cos of pi? Cos of pi is -1, right? Similarly, let's say that you want to see the exponential of something. Something like this. So all these functions, whatever you want to use anything, any of these functions, you can use math function and m dot will give you this access to all these functions. You just write the argument of that function and you have the number. So this is how we use essentially any package or any library in Python. Any questions? Very simple, right? Just you have to get the library imported and we can start using the functions. For an example, let's say that's something m.floor. Floor function, you are aware, if you are, that it will give you the integer just below that. So floor function is this, right? 3.4 is giving you 3. So it's just the integer. So this floor function you can only use floor function when you have imported math from the library. So that is the idea. Now similarly for random things, you can use this random library. So for an example, this. And we have a lot of statistical models around this random function. Different kind of, you can generate different kind of random functions based on some different kind of distribution, which can be have various different kind of variations are there for generating the random function. So all these things are available in this, and you can simply use it. For example, now you have used it. So let's say that from this I want to from this list I want to access three elements randomly. So simple random.sample, and it will give you the access to this anything random. So not necessarily now first time 283 has come. Let's say that if I just run it again, something else 030. So from this list, 3 different numbers will come randomly. Similarly, now let's say that you want to have some random integer. So random integer between this number 100 and 200. So simple 160, right? So similarly, I mean, simple things are there. It's not like very difficult thing. So like over here, I'm just using a sys library and just trying to see the version of it. So I'm trying to show you the example of how basically this library works. Any doubt here? Now you understand how the library works. You just have to use the library, and after that you can use the functions available in that library. Is this clear till now? Whatever simple 2-3 things we have seen.
So random is a library is used to generating random number.
Yeah, random library is for generating random numbers.
Yeah.
And it can use many things. I'm just giving you some simple example wherein I'm just trying to access random number from this. list or simply random number between this. So it can have multiple variations. If you have some statistics background or anything, if you heard of it, a sampling can take multiple different kind of sample, right? It can be a stratified sample. It can take some Bayesian or Gaussian distribution, and you can do some random data from there. So all these things are possible using a random library. But I'm not going there right now because you may not have, all of you may not have that kind of statistical understanding. So I'm just trying to give you some basic part of it. That if you want to pick up something random, you can use random library.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
And Austin, I'm sure there is some kind of a document or a way to understand what all libraries exist, right?
So see, there are multiple libraries. I mean, list of libraries, if you look at it.
Mm-hmm.
So see, not everyone can learn all the libraries because there are more than 5,000 to 7,000 libraries in Python. And it have multiple hundreds of functions in, let's say just if I put number of libraries in.
I'm just thinking like Java has the, the Java doc.
Yeah. So for this also, like that's what I'm trying to show you, the docs of Python library.
Okay.
So it is very, very, like very well documented library is available for all of this.
Okay.
You see here, right? You can just go through it. And numeric, mathematical modules. We have seen some of them like math, numbers, let's say mathematical functions.
Got it.
Right? So all these functions, scaling function, this. So everything is there. But then what we need is, I'm just trying to give you the understanding of how it works. Because when we are going to learn this linear regression, logistic regression, random forest, then you need to know that from where to pick things up. Like let's say that I square root, it will give you the square root of this number. Right? Math or this. We're trying to see some example from math function. Similarly, well-documented library are there for all the things. You see here, right? But primarily, what we are going to use is something called Pandas library for our data manipulation part. But then you can always have a look. This is very well documented, and there's a very good support system for the libraries and for any of the Python works. Okay.
Yeah, thank you for showing that, Austin.
So what we are going to do in the next session is essentially we'll start with this Pandas library. Okay, Pandas gives us very much use flexibility for data manipulation. And data manipulation, we'll start with this data manipulation and this. You can see here the description of it, right? The Pandas is a very powerful library for data analysis and manipulation library of the Python. Because if you have done some SQL and everything, that is also used for manipulation. But it also provides very sophisticated, functions for handling data and manipulating data in the Python environment itself. So we are going to use Pandas from there. We'll start to import the data set. We'll see how to work with the data sets, how to work with the volumes, and all different kind of things. So this is what we'll start from tomorrow. And this is pretty much about it, just to give you the hang of how Python works. And this script is also available in the LMS itself. I had said this in the earlier session. So if you have access of the LMS, you'll just go there and you'll find it. Okay. And I'll share this script for the today's session also, so that there's something else, whatever you have created, so that you can just go through it. I mean, do some hands-on. Just it will not take much time. It will take you 15-20 minutes. Just run these commands at least from your end, so that you just get hang of working with Python too. Okay. So this is where I have given this in this module 5. If you see, you can download this Python file directly and you can start working on this. Just run this command, and that's about it. All right.
So
Hello?
download the module 4 and then execute it, right? So run it to.
You can. I mean, like step by step, you can just execute all these queries. It's basically the same query, whatever we have done today.
Okay.
You see this, right?
Yeah.
This is what we have done. Okay. So basically, this is what we have covered, just to give you a hands-on of Python, and we'll start with this. Now, the questions that you guys had was that how basically data science and how we are going to work with this, right? So see, essentially, you have the idea of data science thing, right? So basically, in data science, what we are doing is whatever data we have, we essentially or primarily we basically try to understand the data. So there are two things that we can do on the fundamental level, just something descriptive of it. Like if I have sales data, so you have experience with sales. So you can see the sales of very simple things, simple KPIs. You can see that what is the average sales of the year, what is the sales, quarter by quarter, what is the monthly sales, what is the incremental monthly sales on this, what is the quarter on quarter growth of the sales, what is the month on month basis growth of the sales, and like that. You can have anything, transactions, whether the sales have gone down compared to last year, whether sales have gone up. These kind of analysis you can do with the data that you have in your hands. So these form a part of descriptive statistics. Okay, but in data science, what we are fundamentally looking at is we want to understand that why something has happened like this. We want to know that, let's say that there was sales, something, there was a month over month sales has happened from, let's say that we are in June. Last year, it was something, let's say X. Now it has gone down by 5% or it has gone up by 5%. We also want to understand the pattern, that why something is happening. And once you are aware of the pattern that something is happening, then basically that pattern may carry on in future also. Is that clear to you? What I'm trying to, we are not only interested in looking quarter on quarter growth, right? We are also trying to understand why what is basically influencing that quarter on quarter growth. Is there something from the data that we can basically figure out? If we understand the pattern, then we can have that, okay, something has worked here, it may work in the next quarter also, right? In the quarter of the next year also. So you can basically make some kind of projections. We do all the time. Now we want to do it with much more statistically significant way. That is the whole purpose of doing predictive analytics. That we want to find patterns in the available data and figure out what may happen in the future. Not just figure out what may happen in the future, but also we want to understand that whether whatever we are predicting can have some, actionable implementations or actionable insights can be drawn from there. So this is all become part of, data science thing, that you understand the data, you make some future predictions, which is static, and you just don't make the prediction. You basically evaluate and validate that prediction based on statistical methods. There are multiple methods to evaluate whether that will work or whether that will work with how much confidence that will work. Something can have 70% confidence level, something can have 80% confidence level, something. So these kind of things we basically try to predict. So it's kind of both the things. It's kind of, there are technical aspects of it, objective aspects of it, which is basically science and tools that you're using, the math and tools, computer languages that you're using. And it also has the art aspect of it. It is not just about, putting some statistical numbers around. It is also that whether it is basically, solving for an objective. So there the part of art also comes. That's why it becomes a modeling. Modeling means you're not just doing something only on the front of mathematics and computers, but you also have some kind of, creativity around it, that basically these tools of mathematics, statistics, and computer science you're using them as tools to solve a problem. So there a little bit of artistic capability also comes in picture. So that makes data science more of an art and science. So both the things are required, and we are going to cover here is mostly, the scientific aspects of it, which is the statistics, your modeling techniques, languages, tools. This is what we'll cover. And also because we are going to do everything hands-on, as in some case study we'll pick up, and based on that we'll see. So we'll also see where to figure out how to basically make the right kind of question from there, or right kind of objective that we can solve using our methods. So this is what data science is. Now, what we are going to cover as part of this is, you can see here, right? Data science, fundamentally, data science with R, we'll just have a look briefly later on. Just basics of R we'll cover, but mostly we are going to see everything from, Python. So we'll cover data manipulation, which may, basically, which is like descriptive and statistics part of it, understanding the data, because a lot of times your data is not clean. There are multiple missing values in the data. There are some kind of outliers, which is very different from the general pattern that is available in the data. So we want to work with them, make the data clean and proper, because only with the clean data you can create some models which can be used for predictions. Then we'll see we'll try to understand data using some visual techniques also. Then statistical part, some of the basic, descriptive statistics part, and some inferential stats parts also we'll cover. And then the most important thing that we're going to cover is machine learning methods. Machine learning methods or models are like regression, which is, your regression. Then we'll cover classification. Then other tools like decision trees, clustering, random forest, and some other aspects of also probably we'll just touch upon deep learning. Deep learning is also very much becoming very, popular in the current arena. So we'll also slightly cover that part. Unsupervised learning is basically clustering technique, and all of these are not just conceptually we are going to cover. We'll cover them as part of some kind of case study. The case study, like let's say that you're trying to do some kind of customer segmentation, or let's say store segmentation. For an example, I'll tell you. Let's say that there are 500 stores based on some strategy. Like let's say that based on sales of different kind of things. For an example, apparel sales, fresh fruit sales, or some kind of FMCG sales, the store areas. Based on these kind of parameters, now you want to distinguish between these 500, you have 500 stores for one particular client, and you want to segment these 500 stores into, let's say, some manageable number of segments, let's say 5 to 10 segments. So based on these parameters, how I can basically, segment or cluster these stores. See how this will happen, why this needs to be the first place we need to understand. Because managing 500 different stores may be difficult. So what on the top management level, what they may need to do is they just want to have some kind of similar kind of segmentation. Like maybe let's say that there are 50 stores which has the sales of apparel very high. So they may want to just fit in there. They just want to make a cluster out of that. Not just based on one apparel sales. It can take multiple different kind of parameters. And just give you one apparel sale, it can take the how much a store area is there, how many customers visit that place in a day. There could be multiple parameters. So just by thinking or through simple computation, we may not be able to go there. But then we have unsupervised learning or clustering methods like K-means. So those things can facilitate these kind of scenarios. So we are going to cover mostly using these kind of case studies, which are very much, which has been very much used in some application in the industries. So that is how we are going to cover. Everything will be mostly based on some workable case study, which can work in any of the industry. That's how we are going to cover most of the parts. Similarly, some of the association rules and recommendation engine, like recommendation thing would be like you can think of Amazon or any other website that you're using. When you click on some item, it will also show you that the person who has bought this item or has seen this item has also looked at these items. So from where this understanding is coming? So this understanding is coming basically from a lot of analysis on the back end, right? That, okay, so this person, if let's say that there are 100 people who have just bought a book of Python, right? Now they have also looked at a book of, let's say, statistics. Out of those 100 people, let's say that 50 people have looked at the book of statistics also. So there is a good affinity between Python and statistics. So that is what it means. I'm just trying to make it very layman's, very simple. There are multiple statistical things. Like let's say that you want to see the confidence of that, you want to see the lift of that, and support for those factors. They are statistical factors, but just even from the simple perspective, let's say that there are 100 people who have seen a Python book, and they have also seen a statistics book. So there is a close affinity that if a person is buying a Python book or seeing a Python book, that person is also, there's a 50% chance that that person will also look at this statistics book. So when you are a new guy opening that Python book, it will basically give you this thing. This will just show you. Because what may happen now, let's say that from there a sales conversion happen of let's say even 5%. So you are basically not just buying Python, you are also adding statistics to it. That is what the idea of market basket analysis is. When you walk into a store, you see that they club multiple items. Let's say with a simple cookies, they also put some chips around it, because there is affinity between cookies and chips. So these things, based on multiple transactions, they can come up with insights that which products are more likely to go together, right? So these kind of things become part of association rules. We'll see some examples of that, and towards the end, we'll see some of the more sophisticated algorithms, which is support vector machines, die-based, and this is how we are going to cover. So all these things will be mostly based on case study in some form or the other. So this is what we are going to cover as part of this course. I think this is what you guys wanted to know, right? Any questions you have from you?
Austin, I have one question. There's Arun. How many hours of work apart from the classes would you anticipate? Of course, I know that is dependent a little bit on the skill level also, but in general, what kind of involvement do you see? Especially for somebody like me, of course, I'm doing a job, so I just want to be aware of what is the kind of job
the way
that you expect.
So expectation would be something like this. See, so basically the classes would be around 3 hours on the weekends, like so Saturday and Sunday, so which is going to be from 5 to 6 hours, 5 to 7 hours on an average every week. So this is what we're going to cover as part of the course. But what I would expect, see, one thing, as you have said, it depends. Like if you have some programming experience, then you may not need to work a lot. But then Stella was there. She may need to work a little harder on this part. So the whole idea is that whatever we are covering, at least you go through that. That much would be the expectation. During the list that I have covered linear regression in this week. So I would definitely want you to go through that in the coming week, which may not take a lot of time. But then if you want to know much more about it, then I can definitely provide you, different contents and different websites from where you can have some more understanding of it. But generally, whatever we are going to cover will cover whatever we use generally in our industry. Because see, one thing is academically knowing something, right? Academically, we can get into linear regression or any algorithm, the linear regression itself can go for 8 to 9 classes. That much is also possible. But generally in industries and in applications, that much is not used. So what we are going to cover is from the application point of view, not that much of academic point of view, right? But then if you want more academic content, then you may have to put in a little more effort.
Understood. And one more question from my side is, what kind of softwares do you expect that we will learn? Is it only Python, or do you think we are going to be learning anything else also?
No, so Python, so most of the things that I have talked about as part of modeling, we are going to cover in Python. But towards the end, I'll also cover R, and I'll give you the codes, because let's say there is a concept, right? How linear regression works. Now, for an example, you want to handle, let's say, simple thing, missing value treatment you want to do. So you know what is basic value, how we can treat the conceptually, So conceptually we are going to cover. Then that we'll implement in Python. Towards the end, we'll just briefly touch upon R, so that you know the R tool also, the way we have done this Python tool, right? So now you know something about Python, how it works. Similarly, we'll see R also, that how it works. And I'll provide you the codes so that you know, like let's say that we are doing linear regression or logistic regression in Python, you will be able to implement them in R also. Similarly, we'll also briefly touch upon Tableau and SQL also, so that, because if you have these toolkits, at least the basics of it, and you need to apply or you want to see it, explore it more, so you'll have some point to start from. So that is what the idea is.
And in terms of, whenever we do any kind of analysis, and as I can see, this is heavily on analysis. So the input mechanisms, I understand, will be mostly, let's say a CSV file or an Excel file. Would that be a fair?
No, so see, for learning purposes, that is fair enough. But then when you see, what we are going to learn is concepts here, right? And we are just going to see that how it works. But then when you are into your industry, like let's say that I have around 7 years of experience in analytics and data science and machine learning and now deep learning and artificial intelligence also. So I have worked with millions and billions of records. Personally, I have done projects which has like let's say that 300 million POS machines. For an example, I was doing recently a project where we're trying to cluster, and basically we're trying to figure out the proximity relationship between different kind of POS machines and how transactions happen on that across the country. So when you're doing that, it's a very huge thing to handle that kind of data. But then fundamentally, when you're learning and when you're doing, you cannot, one thing is you need a very enterprise level sophisticated infrastructure for that. So that is not possible for the learning purposes. So because we cannot handle 300 million in CSV files or even Python, that's not possible. But then what we can do here is that the same thing can be replicated. Now let's say that you have a machine with, let's say that whatever good GB of RAM, then you can, the same thing you can apply on those machines much more in sophisticated way. So that is much is possible. But in the learning phase, we cannot handle that big data. But conceptually, we are definitely going to cover whatever is to be done on that. So it's like a kind of extrapolation. You understand that? That we are going to cover the small part of it as far as data is concerned, but then we'll see the extrapolation part of it. And also, it's not that we're going to cover very small data. That is also not the case. It is going to be a good size data that we're going to cover. Very very decent size data we're going to cover in this session.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Austin. Thanks.
It may not have enterprise level. That's something I would like to make it, because that's not possible for the academic purposes. So that is the thing.
No, absolutely. I understand that it may not have enterprise level data. That's
Yeah.
understood. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions, Sam? Anyone?
If we have time, that I saw at the beginning of this document, there was a certificate at the end, right?
Yeah.
Is that a Python driven one, or who is the issuing authority of that?
So Jarentech will issue that certificate.
Oh, I see. Okay, gotcha. So, okay. So is there a industry-wide certificate also available for data science in general? Or?
No, so this program is called Data Science Master Training Program. So you'll get a certificate for this, which will be around 5 to 6 months, because we are going to cover a lot of things, and it's a weekend program. So, and once you complete all these capstone projects and everything we're going to cover, anyway, we're going to do it like based on the case studies only. But in the end, we'll also see some of the capstone projects. Once you finish that, then you will be eligible for the certificate.
Sir, Austin, sir. Hello.
Yeah.
What about the project? Is this an industry-based experience? Yeah, if I add an industry-based experience, I mean.
Sorry, you mean to say the project are industry-based?
Yeah, right.
No, so the projects that we are going to cover will have, so let's say that whatever we are doing, for example, it's a market basket analysis. So that market basket analysis will have the, applications in the industry also. But we may not have, like, let's say that, for an example, for Walmart or Target, right? They process millions of data in a day. So obviously we cannot handle that much data with our infrastructure. Because if I do that, then it will take a lot of time. We cannot cover that in the session.
Okay.
So that is not possible. But we'll do is we'll have good amount of data, very decent amount of size data. On that, we'll do the applications which will be used which are used in the enterprise itself. Because whatever I cover is mostly from my experience. It's not just I will cover you. I mean, that's why I didn't get too much theoretical also. If you've seen, I just started right from wherever the application is, I just started from there. So it will all come from enterprise understanding only. Okay, it's not going to cover only academic aspects of it, or conceptually we are going to figure out something. No, we're going to cover everything from whatever is used in enterprise. Like, let's say that I'm doing something on the credit score, or let's say that whether someone's loan application should be accepted or not, right? So these are very much enterprise-wise, or bank these applications are there. So that is what we are going to cover. But it may just have the size of the data may vary. That is about it when you are handling the enterprise data.
Okay. Thank you.
So for an example, if you see towards the end, some of the things are here, right? Like, we'll see much more of it, like market basket analysis. As I was saying, that what are the items which may go together. We see in all these things, right? That is the thing what they do in Amazon or any other Alibaba websites. That they club the website. Once you click on something, they will also show you something else, which is basically the association. If if they have found association between two products in the past, then obviously they will, their whole purpose is to increase the sales. So whatever technique they use, that's up to them. That's all about. That's all about.
Okay.
Any other questions?
So this class, Austin, is Saturday, Sunday, same time, right?
Yeah, it will be same time, Saturday and Sundays.
So
And
how
in-
much?
Go
How
ahead.
much hours?
It will be 3 hours
Yeah.
usually, 2.5 to 3 hours. And we'll take 10-15 minutes break in between. That's all.
Yeah. Okay.
And Austin, did you say the duration of how many weeks does this go
It could be up to like, usually it is 100 to 120 hours it may take. And so depending upon, it can take vary from 4.5 to 5.5 months, because sometimes we may have some kind of holiday also. Like there was last week, there was this Independence Day, something like that. That is possible. So including of that, it takes around 4.5 to 5.5 months. And sometimes depending upon how the projects are going and things. I mean, that's the range. That's the average thing, 4.5 to 5.5.
And at some point, will you be able to show us more of like a career path? Because, this is an interesting crossroad, right?
Yeah.
So like you had that 3 things with the mathematics and the computer science and the other one, right? So it will be interesting to understand what kind of career paths this will help with.
1 second. I'll show you that.
Okay.
So these are some of the documents which are available. But generally, I'll tell you, just not based on documents or anything. So see, you come from different experience. Like I'll start from a fresher, right? Who are just out of a college. So there can be different kind of roles altogether. One thing is you can choose to take a load of a data engineer, or you can choose to go into field of data science, and you can choose to go into even more sophisticated thing like deep learning. Right? There are multiple ways you can actually think of it. So this course is more geared towards your data science. And when I'm saying data science, so that role becomes very sophisticated in terms of, it is not just doing a modeling, as we are talking about the predictive model and everything. It starts right from the data manipulation. When I'm saying data manipulation, you can have multiple data sources. Like let's say that data sources could be your structured data. Structured data means which has a kind of structure. Like let's say that bank data are usually structures because there is a particular format. Let's say that you are an employee of an organization. So it has a particular format. You how many years of experience you have, which department you are in, how much salary you have been drawing, whatever, these kind of things. It has particular structure, particular columns to it. So it follows a general structure. Apart from that, you can have unstructured data, like let's say that text data on social media. The text could be anything, right? There cannot be any particular format to it. It can just be anything. Audio data, I'm speaking to you, that is also recorded. And if someone wants to do a transcript of it and then try to form some opinion about it, or let's say that I'm taking the session, and let's say that I have taken 20 sessions, and now they want to form an opinion about how this person is, how this trainer is working. So it is not possible just going through a transcript. Then they may also ask you to give you some kind of feedback, right? So they may check both the things. They must try to evaluate both the things, that how they how the feedbacks have come and how this person has taken the class. So many things can chip in, many things can gel in, and then you basically create a whole sort of a big data warehouse kind of thing. So which can be combination of very much structured data, unstructured data. So this is the part of doing the data manipulation, data understanding, or data collation itself. So that you are basically creating a warehouse of data. Then there can be things like, let's say that there is transactions happening, or let's say that you are basically collecting the for a credit card, for an example, you're trying to collect the age of the person, or let's say that income level of the person. Many people do not want to give their income levels, or many people may not be interested in giving you the age when you're trying to take their information. So let's say that out of 10,000 people record you have collected, only 7,000 people have given their age, right? 3,000 people have not given. So when you have created your data warehouse, what will happen is you will have these 30% missing values. Now you want to treat that missing value, because if you want to do something in the modeling, if you don't have the information complete, because everything that you're doing is based on the past information, but you do not have the past information itself available. So there are multiple things you can do with it. Either you can, based on some other parameters, you basically figure out, or you just give some random age, not just random age, but basically a strategically calculated age to those people, so that your 30% data is not missing. You're getting my point? So that also is part of your data manipulation thing. So the work starts right from there itself. You do data manipulation, you do the data preparation part, then you basically get into the modeling aspect of it, where you create predictive models and do these kind of stuff. Then so see, this is the starting point of it when you're doing the data science. So this is, when you get into it, the role can start from, when you're a fresher specifically, then the role can start from either an analyst, or let's say a data scientist, whatever they want to call it as. A data scientist, then it may go up to senior data scientist, depending upon 2 to 3 years of experience, 3-4 years of experience, wherever you are. Then data senior, then you can become the manager of teams. Like right now, I am basically into the stage of senior manager and like that. So in that space, I have worked with teams of around 7 to 8 to 10 people in different roles. So, and mostly because I kept shifting I didn't just do the management aspect of it, because I was always interested in learning more of a technical thing, because things keep on evolving. Like right now, whatever we are going to cover is part of more of a data science and machine learning, but then deep learning comes, as artificial intelligence comes, then you go into different kind of things. So basically, I was also working in those areas also individually, on an individual basis as well. So then you go into become manager, senior manager, VP, and so on. So this is usually the career progression of a data scientist. But then again, the roles also can vary. It may be highly technical roles also, like as I was telling you, like you can be in the machine learning expertise area, deep learning expertise area, or you can also be in some kind of visualization, because a lot of companies look only for visualizing things. Like let's say that which is like Tableau kind of things, where you create the KPIs, you evaluate the KPIs, and like that. So for that also, it is a company, or you can have, like, let's say that data engineer kind of thing. Data engineer's work is more towards, it is not even data manipulation. That goes a little bit more about data management kind of thing. Like let's say that there is big data, right? You are handling basically the Hadoop platform, or for an example, Teradata platform or Spark platform. So that itself becomes a huge challenge, because that is the data sourcing. If you have some enterprise experience, you might have, or the data comes from different kind of layers, that then you basically distribute the data on different servers, so that and then when all these things are done, then a data scientist role starts. That the data scientist role is not just about creating the data warehouses. A data scientist may pick up the data from that data warehouse and then start manipulating this. So data engineer role becomes a different kind of role, because data scientist roles becomes a little different kind of role, where you are basically start with the manipulation part of the data. And that is what we are going to cover. We are not trying to become a data engineer here, because that becomes a little more, but then that is also a thing. Just because unless your data is managed properly, you cannot walk around it. So the career progression usually is like this. You start with analyst, senior analyst, data scientist, senior data scientist, manager, senior manager, AVP, VP, and whatever the thing goes in 10 to 12 years time. But this is from the fresher's point of view, if you are starting very new. But with some experience, when you have come, then what I have seen in my experience, people come with very, like let's say that someone has 15 years of experience or 10 years of experience already in some other space, maybe in some other programming language or some other managing teams. Like some of you said that you are in IT sales or something, right? You have different kind of expertise altogether. Now they want to have this thing just to get the understanding. They will not be doing everything hands-on, but they may be leading a team wherein these things are also required, so that they are not completely blank. When the new guys come, you also have some understanding, okay, these things are available in this. So you may have a different kind of, career path altogether. So depending upon where you are, how much experience do you have, that also, counts in as a factor.
Thank you, Austin. So I don't want to keep drilling on this one, because if you're at the end of the session.
No, that's okay. If you have any questions, we can take.
Yeah, I think I'm just trying to build the context, and maybe others have the same question. If they don't, we can just keep it short. But I will also start Googling on the job titles and things, because I think there are a lot of crossroads, right? And One thing that I'm also trying to understand is are these more like an IT role or is it in the business, right?
No, so
And
this is not IT and this is not completely business either. But then if you have understanding of the business, right? That's what I told you. It's not just science. When you're talking about IT or mathematics or computer science, that becomes more of a scientific or technology driven thing. It's also a lot of art wherein your intuition and experience comes in and plays a very big role if you're using data science. So that is also the thing with this.
okay, thank you. That helps.
So what I would say is definitely we'll touch base on all your questions if you have something like that. But then what you need to understand is based on where you are and how do you want to see. If you are just trying to think of a parallel path, then parallel path can mean different things for different people, right? So what you are essentially trying to do with this is something you have to come to a place. Like let's say that if you already have some, I don't know how much experience you are carrying. How much experience you have, Arun and Sam? Work experience?
You mean in general or?
Yeah, in general, whatever work experience you have.
Oh, so this will kind of tell me, tell you guys how old I am. But
No, I mean, I just want to see.
I,
that's why I started from the professor point of view. But then because I want to understand that.
Yeah, no, that's fair. So I started as a developer when the whole .com boom kind of happened, right?
Okay, so 2000 around.
Yeah. So I was in all that the .net, the .com rather. And I was a developer back then. So, that puts me in, I don't know, 20, 25, whatever.
Yeah, so that's why 2000 probably would have started something like that. So that's the whole thing. Now, in this time, you cannot possibly be thinking of starting out like, with a very, it's good that you are getting into it, but then your role could be possibly different. I don't know what role you have in your mind. Like sometimes that's what I told you, that many people come with this kind of experience, 15 years, 20 years, and they are just about managing the teams. They're not that much interested in doing things hands-on. But then what they want is the familiarity with the subject. Because otherwise, even when you are managing a team and you don't have any experience of that thing, then you may not be feeling comfortable managing those kind of teams. That's the whole thing. So they come with just the idea that, okay, what happens in the data science? What happens in deep learning? What happens in machine learning? With that, and to get that understanding, many people come in. But then they are just managing a team. They are not doing anything hands-on. So if your goal is to do something hands-on, then it's a different thing.
No, I mean, I myself definitely want to be hands-on. I miss that part, and I think the things are changing around us, and I think the data science is something I'm genuinely interested in, and I think I'll be really good at it. So definitely want to be hands-on. I'm not interested in being a hands-off manager kind of thing. So that's why I chose this.
Yeah, so that we are basically, whatever we are covering is not for, data science for managers. This is not for data science for managers program. Yeah. This is for data science who wants to do core data scientist stuff. That is what it is.
Okay.
But then if you have that kind of inclination, if someone has that kind of inclination also, that also helps. They may not be doing hands-on, but then they have the understanding. Okay, there's something called as clustering in this, or there is something called as k-means in this, or there is something called as reinforcement learning, which works like this. So, I mean, many people just have the feeling of that. So that is about. But then this course is geared towards doing things hands-on.
Yeah, got it. Thank you, Austin.
Thank you. Any other questions? Anyone?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, guys. So let's meet tomorrow at the same time.
Thank you for attending the session. I hope you all enjoyed it. Don't forget to visit our Vimeo page and follow for more upcoming videos.